Hello and welcome to your Postpartum Foundations introductory class. I'm so thankful that you've made this time for yourself today, and I want you to just take this moment right now to come into this class knowing that maybe the baby's going to wake up, maybe you're going to have to pause and just give yourself permission to take those moments as they come. And just be thankful to yourself as well for making this time for you. We know it can be challenging, and we know that life happens. And so making this time for ourselves is both important and challenging, and they can both live harmoniously together. So before we dive in, I just want to take a moment to introduce myself and share with you some of the things that I want you to start bringing to mind as we walk through this practice today that's going to help you heal in the long run and really understand how to manage your body in a way that feels really good and revitalizes you. So hi, my name is Jennifer Sharp. I am a pre and postnatal corrective exercise specialist as well as a postnatal fitness specialist. All those fancy titles to say that I'm the woman who helps support your body through movement to heal and feel well again after you have a baby. Through my own experience of being a mom 3 times over and experiencing 3 wildly different postpartum recoveries, it has led me down this path to healing and being in this space of supporting women going through the same thing. Because what I learned was both shocking to me and heartbreaking that so many of us are walking around through life feeling the way that I did and thinking that this is a life sentence because we're moms now. So many of the issues that come from pregnancy are not a life sentence. They can easily be managed through movement and body awareness. And that's what I'm here to teach you how to do today. Through my own postpartum experiences and this healing process, I was able to manage my C-section recovery, overcome painful sex, deal with prolapse symptoms and how to manage those through movement, as well as eliminating the almighty bladder leak. I know so many of us are experiencing that, and that's a big one that I see in my world that women are just so frustrated by. So you probably are experiencing one or all of those as well. So welcome. Let's dive into this together. So before we get moving, there are 4 things that I really want you to bring to mind. And these are going to be our biofeedback markers that are kind of letting us know that, hey, maybe we're just not quite ready for something here. And that's okay. We might not be ready today to do this, but now we have this awareness that our body wants to do something other than what we want it to do. And now we can work on the other side of it to bring ourselves back to this movement practice that we love. So those 4 things are pain, peeing, peaking, so that's doming or coning out of the midline, and pressure down or pressure out into that midline as well. There's different areas of pressure. So if you're noticing any of those things coming up for you through this movement practice, just be mindful. It's just your body lovingly saying, not quite yet. Let's change strategies or let's try something different. And that's okay. It's better to stop than to push through because we don't want to be exacerbating any injuries or making things worse for ourselves or harder in the grand scheme of things. That's ultimately not the goal here. The goal here in this class is just to help you build the awareness, build the strength, and come back into your body with a lovely connection and strength and stability. So you're going to notice a couple of things that I really love to do in my practice is practice the breath. One of the most underestimated tools that we have in our tool belt to heal our body is breathing. I know we take it for granted because we think we're breathing all day long, like what does it matter? But how we breathe can really be the clincher in whether or not we can manage prolapse symptoms, heal our core, and stop bladder leaks. So when I say to breathe a certain way, I really want you to focus in on that and know that it doesn't need to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect today. It's not going to be perfect tomorrow either. It might take you quite some time to achieve what your goals are with this breath and just recalibrate and reconnect to it. There's a lot of things that happen in pregnancy. And one of the things that happens is our diaphragm gets impacted by the baby. And so we have to kind of reteach it how to coordinate so it works in conjunction with our pelvic floor. And that takes practice because our body got into habits over 9 months of doing it one way. And now we're saying, hey, I want you to learn these new habits. And so we all know when we are changing our habits, there's a process that has to happen before we get into these new habits. It isn't always linear. It might go up and down and all around, but just know that you can get there. And sometimes we just need the guidance to get us there. That's where I come in. So I encourage you to breathe and move slowly through today's practice so that way you can really connect to your body and connect to your breath in the movements. And again, give yourself full permission to not do it perfectly. All right, with that being said, we are going to dive into today's class. I am going to ask you before we start to have a couple things on hand. You're going to want a little band, any sort of band if you have these fabric ones or the little plastic ones. These are going to be just fine. It's just to keep us honest mostly. And if you don't have a band on hand, that's okay too. Something like a ball or a block will work just fine. So whatever you have on hand is perfect. Don't need to go out and buy anything special. Just use what you got on hand. All right, so we're going to come into a lying down position. And we're going to start with our first breathing practice. So the first thing I want you to do here is check and see if you're arching. If you can reach something under here, you're arching too much. So let's find this pelvic neutral position. We also don't want to be tucking and clenching anything. You should feel nice and relaxed here. And I want you to take your hands and pretend you're putting them in your pockets. So they're going to rest right here on these low abs. Your fingertips can be set right on your pubic bone here. And the rest of your hands just kind of in those nice little pockets there. And what we're thinking about doing is taking a breath and sending it all the way down into our hands, our little pockets here. So take a big breath in. You can close your eyes if that helps and just send it all the way down. Inhale through your nose and exhale out your mouth. And I'm going to talk you through this while you're breathing. And one of the things I want you to notice here is your belly rising and falling? So rising as you inhale, filling the body fill with air. And as you exhale, is it falling? Is it reaching your hands down here? Some of you might be finding that it's hard to get your breath all the way down into your hands here. And that's okay too. Again, this is all biofeedback, just letting you know where your body stands today. And next I'm going to ask you, what are your shoulders doing here? Do they feel like they're rising up to meet your ears on that inhale? So they might be doing something like this. If they are, you're not noticing anything happen, or maybe not much happen in your little pockets here, and that's okay too. We're just noticing what we notice. Again, it's not right or wrong. We're just noticing right now. Or maybe you're noticing that your chest isn't rising at all. It's just all belly opening up. So maybe it's a lot of belly movement. So it might look like this. And that's okay too. Just something that we're going to take a note of. The reason I'm asking you all this, keep breathing while you're doing that and keep connecting. The reason I'm asking you these questions is because this is going to tell us how much tension we can generate starting from the pelvic floor up on our exhale, which is our ideal breath. Because like I said, we want that diaphragm and pelvic floor to work together. These are the top and the bottom of our core canister. And so in order to heal our core, these two areas have to be working together with this core area, our back and our front. So when something isn't working properly here, somewhere else there has to be a compensation pattern happening, which is not ideal for healing our pelvic floor and being able to manage leaks and prolapse symptoms. So last breath here. Beautiful. So we're going to do this breath one more time. couple times through. And what I want you to think about on this time through is on your exhale, seeing if we can generate tension and do a full Kegel there. Lift that pelvic floor. And so you're going to be a big inhale in. See if you can get your pockets to move down here. And as you exhale, think about you're sucking up a really thick smoothie into your vaginal canal there. And just lifting up and having everything shrink up and in towards your belly button. So big inhale in, sending breath all the way down into the pelvic floor. Exhale out through your mouth. Try one more. Big inhale in, letting everything relax down. Exhaling. It can be an audible exhale. I find that really helps to connect to the pelvic floor. Take one more big breath for me. Now you might be noticing here that your upper abs want to take over and they want to cinch in first. That's okay too. It's just another compensation pattern that our body has gotten used to. So we're going to work our way throughout this program on overcoming these compensation patterns. So wherever we lie today, we're just making a note of it for later. Okay. So the next move we're going to come into is little pelvic tilts. So again, putting our hands in our pockets here, keeping that nice neutral spine, we're just going to rock back and forth on this pelvic bowl. So you're going to think about your pubic bone here, just kind of reaching up towards our nose as we exhale and driving that using these lower abs. We shouldn't be butt gripping to get there. So our glutes really shouldn't be the driving force here. They're going to come on board a little bit, but if it's all glute, that's not what we're looking for. And it might be a really big challenge, and that's okay too. So inhale, open up. You're going to feel this little arch happen in your back here. Open that pelvic bowl up like a wheel. Exhale, roll your wheel. Using those lower abs, bringing that pubic bone towards your nose. And you shouldn't have to push down in your feet to get this wheel to roll either. Maybe you're noticing some ab action where they're contracting, where maybe they haven't before. Maybe they've been asleep since pregnancy and now they're like, oh, hello. That's beautiful. And if you're not, again, it's okay. We'll get you there. It's a process. We're going to go for 2 more. Again, big audible exhales here really help. Last one. Open up. Beautiful. So now I'm going to have you come onto hands and knees, and we're going to do that same connection breath that we did lying down, and we're going to notice what we notice in this stance, because it's going to be a little different for us here. Each body is going to be different, so maybe you found it really easy in lying down, and maybe this way is going to feel more of a challenge, or vice versa. Again, no right or wrong, we're just noticing what we notice. So big inhale in, and on that inhale, I really want you to let these abs go. We live in a world where it tells us that our belly should look a certain way. And because of this, oftentimes I see a lot of dysfunction happening because we feel like we have to suck it in, and we don't. So permission to let that belly just hang loose. It's going to thank you for this. Your pelvic floor will thank you for this. So big inhale in. You should feel this perineum area expand on that breath in as well. It's okay if you don't. It's just telling us that maybe there's some tension happening there, or our breath just isn't able to make it all the way there yet. And then on your exhale, again, think about scooping up that pelvic floor, sucking up that big, thick smoothie, lifting it, and shrinking up, or zipping into like a really tight pair of jeans. So your whole abdominal muscles here are going to kind of cinch in and up with that zip up. So you keep breathing there. I'm just showing you. So big breath in. And if it feels supportive, you might want a little tuck here. So as you exhale, just a small tuck happening in that tailbone. That might help you feel more engagement coming from your lower abs as well. On your inhale, always remembering to relax and let everything go. Let that belly drop without letting your back drop. We don't want to see this kind of thing happening. We are not twerking here. We're going to do one more. Beautiful. And next, we're going to move into a cat-cow. So again, connecting our breath here. So as we round up, thinking about pushing that floor away, tucking our tailbone, we are exhaling. And as we inhale, relax everything down. Pulling our chest forward, getting this lovely tailbone wide open in the back, thinking about our bum cheeks kind of moving away from each other here, getting a nice stretch in those pelvic floor muscles. We need a lot of length in our pelvic floor muscles. So length always is beautiful. Length before strength. Without length, we can't build strength. So let them go. Exhale. Round and tuck. Inhale, relax everything down, pulling chest forward. Exhale. And again, here on that exhale, we don't need our glutes to be grinding our body forward. We don't need to be clenching those glutes. It's all coming from these little muscles of the pelvic floor, just tucking our tailbone under, kind of giving them a little pull forward here. And then releasing and relaxing between those bum cheeks. One more. Okay, reset. Beautiful. Now we're going to get into some of this lovely work today that our body's kind of gotten into this connection through our breath, and we're starting to get some lovely awareness happening. So we're going to come laying down onto our back for some heel slides. So in your heel slides, I want you to have one knee up. I'm going to switch legs so you can see. One knee up and the other extended. Again, you might want to put your hands in your pockets here just to feel what's happening. Because like I said, we don't want to be coning or doming out. So if you feel like as you're dragging in, you're getting this kind of a thing happen here, you can see I'm doming out a little bit. And I'm not able to manage my pressure in my stomach. So what's going to happen here? As you exhale, you're going to drag your heel in. Again, thinking about using right here, these muscles right in this lower abdominal area, these are your deep core muscles, to help pull that leg in. This might be a big challenge for you, maybe not. Maybe you're breezing through. Again, really slow movement. Inhale as you let your leg down. Exhale. Trying not to let our ribs kind of crunch down here. So if you're cramming your back to the floor as you're doing this, I encourage you to try and keep that length in your body. Keep everything neatly stacked together. We don't need to crunch. If we are, we could be making our belly kind of pooch out. So keep going there. We're going to do one more and then switch sides. Beautiful. Okay, extend your leg out. Beautiful work. We're going to go one more. Okay, you're going to stay down in this position here, and we're going to move on to some really small bridges. So I want you to kind of wrap your shoulder blades under your body here, placing your hands on the floor for stability. And I don't want you driving all the way up, like just pushing as hard as you can here. The whole point of these small bridges is just to regain some of the connectivity in our glutes. Oftentimes they fall asleep, so we're going to take it really easy here. So inhale big, exhale, create that little core brace here. And then you're going to inhale again, keeping the core brace, breathing into your ribs. And as you exhale, driving through your heels, tucking your tailbone and lifting up just a little. Get that good glute contraction in here. Wherever we stop is perfect. We don't want to be feeling this in our low back. And we don't want to be pushing way out like this. So you see this huge arch in my back. My belly's like, whoa. We don't need that. We're not there yet. That's okay. Nor do we want to be there. So inhale. We're going to be here for 8. So you keep working your way through these. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about them. Doing these glute bridges is a lovely way to work with gravity at creating this pelvic floor contraction. So kind of like a little mini Kegel here, that without thinking about doing a Kegel, because gravity is going to do some of that work for us. And as we scoop that tailbone up, it's getting our lower abs engaged to better support these pelvic floor muscles engaging as well. I want you to think about all these muscles being all the best friends. They have to work together. It's a team. When you come down, really inhale, relax. Rise up, get that glute contraction. Inhale, let it down. Last one there. Beautiful. Now I'm going to ask you to grab your little band if you have it, or ball or whatever you have. So I like the band because I like to put a little bit of pressure out in this move. You're going to stay laying down with your knees bent and your hands are going to be raised over you. So if you're holding your block, that's fine too. You're going to squeeze in, Doesn't matter whether you're squeezing in or out here. That's not the point. The point of this move is we are going to be raising our hands over our heads like this. Now, some of you are going to get to a point where you're going to lose connectivity with your abs. I'm going to move these things out from behind me here. You're going to lose connectivity with your abs and you're going to do a big arch like this. This is so normal postpartum, but we want to avoid it because what it's doing is it's saying to us that we might have some rib flare happening. And when we leave this without any intention, we can see our diastasis kind of stay open longer, or we could create one, which is not what we're going for here. So we're going to think about keeping our lower back connected to the mat. Maybe you have a small pelvic tilt here. Create that core brace with your big connection breath. So inhale down, exhale, bracing your core. And so you're going to inhale here. And as you exhale, dropping those arms overhead. Inhale, reset. Exhale, drop back. So what we're trying to do, you keep moving. I want you to do 8. What we're trying to do here is keep these ribs in connection to our abs so they aren't staying connected to our shoulders. A lot of times we get stuck and our ribs and our shoulders work as a unit. So we reach up overhead and our ribs come with us. So you'll see it'll kind of look like this, like a little seesaw there. And that's not ideal for our breathing pattern. It's not ideal for our core. It's not ideal for our pelvic floor. It just is. So if this is happening, just know that you have this wonderful awareness and you can work on it. I want you to just stop wherever your body says, whoa, that's enough. I can't go further without losing that core brace. Okay. Eventually you'll get that mobility back through this process. It's going to be a process and that's okay. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. We're going to come back to our heel slides here. Again, we're going to go through this one more time really quickly. So I know it takes a lot the first time around as we explain through everything. So let's do those heel slides. We're going to go for 8 on each side. Big inhale in. Setting up our core brace here. Inhale. Let that leg go. Exhale. You might find it supportive here to put your thumbs even on the bottom rib cage to feel what it's doing now that you've done that third exercise. Knowing if your ribs are kind of splaying out and just kind of reminding them, hey, stay there. You got to stay there. I'm supporting you. You're going to support me. Beautiful. Let's switch sides here. Always coming back to that core brace. You don't need to clench your core. I find that's another overcompensation that happens when we're here and we think, oh my gosh, I don't have enough strength in my core, so I'm going to really, really, really hold on. Don't overthink it. Your breath can and will do the work for you. It might not be doing it perfectly today, like I've said, but it will. So stick with it. You've got this. One more. Beautiful. Okay, back into our nice little bridges, tucking those shoulder blades under to protect our back, planting our hands down to give us just a little bit of leverage here. And inhale, exhale, create that core brace. Inhale, exhale, rise. Inhale all the way down into that pelvic bowl. Exhale, lift and scoop everything up. And you might notice that your quads are wanting to do a lot of the work here too. That's another really cool compensation pattern that our body likes to offer us. So even more reason to really go slow. Tuck that tail just slightly so you can get these lower abs to engage, which will help support your glute being engaged. This also helps remove it from these lower back muscles. Let's go for 2 more here. Last one. Beautiful work. Okay, we're going to grab our band again. Connect to our breath here before we start, always. And feel free, if in the middle of the motion you find yourself falling out of that core brace, to take a pause and just reconnect, always. Two more here. Lovely. You can remove your band and set it off to the side now. We're going to flip over and come into our hands and knees position for some bird dogs. And I want you to think about these not in the traditional sense where we are doing like these full extensions, unless you feel like your body is really, really, really capable of doing that right now, which it may or may not be. So I don't want to discourage you, but we're going to take this slow. So first, I want you to just test your body and taking that core brace. So big inhale and dropping that belly. Create that core brace. Exhale. Take another big breath in here, expanding your ribs. And then just see, okay, can I lift my hand and knee up here? Does my body want to kind of concave in or do some funny stuff? Does it hurt? Do I feel really wobbly in there? And maybe this feels okay. Maybe you feel stable. So let's just be here right now. Or maybe you do feel like you could extend, but you're not quite sure if you can hold it up. So then I would encourage you to come here. Just reach that hand forward and tap your toe down in the back. All the while thinking about if we had a big cup of water here, we don't want to spill it. So we don't want to be seeing things like this kind of thing happening, because that's telling us our core brace just isn't able to hold our pelvic bowl in place properly. If we're doing this, you might notice some shortening of these muscles back here. And that might cause some tension and pain later. So we don't want that. So pick your place, and we're going to do 8 on each side. So maybe you're here. Keeping our cup full of water on our back. Again, moving nice and slow. That's going to help keep our core stable, our pelvic bowl stable. And another thing I like to think about here is keeping tension throughout the whole body. Instead of just thinking about using just one or two muscles, we want to kind of think about that tension running through our entire body. That's going to help create that stability as well. So really reaching through this whole length of our body here, building that tension. You'll feel it all the way through. And it doesn't mean we're flexing or anything crazy like that. It doesn't need to be this big rigid thing. It's just allowing our body to displace the tension throughout all of our system and kinetic chain in this really lovely supportive way. I think 2 more here. One thing I'll tell you about me, I am not good at counting for myself or my clients. I do my best, but I am far from perfect at that. So I hope you've been counting along. This feels like it's probably about 8 per side here. Alrighty, beautiful. So our next move is mid-thoracic opener. So these are going to be, again, something that we're going to take at our own pace, and again, recognizing what our own body's limitations are. So we're going to be on this hands and knees position. You might notice that your wrists are feeling some type of way. I would encourage you, if they're feeling a little like achy, prop yourself up with like a little rolled up towel, or I'm using my fabric band just to give myself some elevation and take it out of my wrist a little bit. It's really common that moms have some achiness in their wrists just from all the things that we have going on. So feel free. So we're going to take our hand and place it at the back of our head, and we're going to be using just this twisting action right from here. So right at our rib line. We're not using our hips or anything here. It's all going to be right in here. So what this is going to look like is we're going to twist our body in towards that elbow, reaching our elbows together, and then opening up as far as our body allows without us having to kick this hip down. We're really keeping our hips stable here. So it's going to look like this. And again, you're going to breathe how you like to through that. You're going to be there for 8 on each side. So you keep working through that. Let's work through it together. My hair is like all over the place. This is why we work out and we don't need to worry about looking good. I notice I'm not encouraging you to breathe in any sort of fashion here. It's just entirely up to you. What feels good and supportive in your body here? And I want you to just have permission to just flow with this movement. It can feel really nice to open our chest up and our shoulder up a little bit. Just creating that rib mobility. All right, let's flip to the other side here. Boop. Get that out of the way. Okay. Now, some of you might be able to open way, way up more than me. Again, it's not right or wrong. It's not a competition. I have really limited back mobility, so I just know my limits and work on expanding my back where I can, and I encourage you to do the same. Last one here. Beautiful. And for our last move before we run back through these one more time is a donkey kick. So these again, I really want us to be focusing on our glute. So we're going to come down into this triangle pose on our elbows here. And we're watching for this back dropping, belly dropping situation to happen. Because what this does right here, it takes it out of our glutes and makes our quads or rather our hamstrings do more of the work, which is not what we're going for. We want to reconnect to our glutes here. So take a big breath in. Create that core brace, pushing the floor away with those elbows and your stability right here. And you're just going to use your glute to lift your leg up. So you'll notice my belly never drops. My hips aren't swaying side to side or anything here. It doesn't need to come up super high. We're just thinking about connecting the dots to the glutes. You're going to be here for 8. Exhale as you lift. It's going to help engage that pelvic floor too. Your glutes love when your pelvic floor works with them. Think about pushing your heel up to the ceiling. Last one on that cheek. We're going to do the other side. Give yourself a moment to reset here in the middle. And now what I want you to do here is also take note. Sometimes one side to the other will feel different. So maybe it's easier for you to contract on your left side versus your right side. I think we all have a little bit of more dominance on one side versus the other. It's just really good biofeedback to know that. Last one on this side. Beautiful. Okay, we're gonna roll right through into our bird dogs again. And again, taking your spot where you feel safe and comfortable today, and knowing that there's progressions that will open up for you in the long run. So, get my hair out of the way here. So again, maybe you're here. Again, 8 for each side. Maybe you're only here today. Maybe you're just still getting that trunk stability. That's okay too. Maybe you have to do one limb at a time. That's okay. It's okay. There's no right or wrong here. I just want you to feel safe in your body. And know that this is the foundational work right here, right now, that is going to help you get back to the movement practices you love, rebuild the strength in your body, and just help you build that vitality that you need to be, in the thick of mom life, because it gets crazy out there some days. One day you're walking to the park with your toddler, they want to ride their bike. Next thing you know, you're carrying the toddler and the bike, and we want your body to be prepared for those moments. It's not always about just what happens at the gym, right? We want to think about how these actions and this strength come into play in our very real motherhood. Beautiful work here. Should feel so supportive. Last set here. Wonderful. Okay, back into those thoracic openers. I'm going to use my little prop here for my wrist. I have wrist stuff that happens from the sports injuries that I've acquired over time. So maybe that's you too. Remember that nice twisting and rinsing action coming at our rib line. This is a great move too if you are experiencing a little bit of rib flare. Exhale as you come in. That's going to help encourage those ribs to just come in together instead of wanting to spread more apart. Last two. Beautiful. Let's take it to the other side. Maybe you're like me, there's feeling some nice like cracking and opening happen in your mid back right now. This is a really great move for just helping that mid thoracic spine just kind of get warmed up and mobilized. All right, back to those donkey kicks. And we're done. We'll do a little cool down session and then you can move on with your day. Okay, again, remembering we want to set up by bracing our core, getting that pelvis stable. Beautiful. Big inhale. Kick that ceiling away. Exhale. See if you can hold that squeeze right at the top there for a little second. Really controlling your leg on the way down. We don't want to be whipping our body all over the place just to say we did a workout. Last one. Switch cheeks. Reset. One more to go. You're looking great. Beautiful. Okay. Now we're going to do our cool down. I always like to bring in at the end of our sessions together some pelvic floor relaxation techniques. I find a lot of times, even though we've been told that our pelvic floor is like loosey-goosey, a lot of us are actually holding a lot more tension in there, especially if we've had a C-section. Our body loves holding tension there, and we actually need to relax those muscles way more than we actually need to contract. And again, it comes down to length before strength. And so we're going to just do a couple quick things here to help chill these muscles all out. So I want you to come down into a nice child's pose here. I want you to, if you found that you are having a little bit of rib flare issue, I want you to bring your knees tucked in neatly underneath you. That's going to help with back expansion. So we're going to tuck those knees right under. That's going to hold our ribs in place here. We're going to rest our head on the mat, reach our arms out nice and long here, and just think about breathing into that sacral area right here. Sending breath down the whole column of your spine. You should feel that opening up your pelvic floor. And if you're having struggles earlier on with the connection breath and getting it to go all the way down into your pelvic floor, this can be a really supportive position, because with your knees tucked under you like this, it really says to your body there's nowhere else for breath to go other than down that back and all the way down into that pelvic bowl. So you should feel that kind of opening between your bum cheeks there. If you're not, though, it's okay. It gives you something to really work on and focus on, even if you sit like this just every morning or every night, and just practice breathing all the way down that spinal column and into, think about breathing in between your bum cheeks. That's the best way I like to describe it. It's kind of funny, and it reminds us to not take this all so seriously. Couple more breaths here. I know this feels delicious after that workout we just did. Okay, I'm going to have you come onto your back now. We're going to lay in a butterfly pose. You might feel like you want a couple blocks or some nice fluffy pillows to put underneath your knees here. I'll show you what that can look like, especially if you find your back is wanting to kind of really arch open as you open those hips. It might feel really supportive to take something and just let your leg rest into it. And again, you can put your hand on your belly, put your hand on your chest, and we're just going to take some nice big breaths here. Thinking about that breath all the way down into that pelvic bowl. You should feel your chest and belly rise equally. Your chest will obviously rise a little bit before your belly because that's where your breath hits first. But we should be noticing that our chest isn't the only thing rising, and same with the belly. We want them to move together. Really just sinking in here. If your hips are wanting to hang on, I really encourage you to put something underneath. Mine really have a tendency to want to hang on. There's a lot of tension, and as moms, we really do hold a lot of tension in our hips and our shoulders too, but that's a story for a different day. So really put something there to just let your body feel safe and just relax, open. And if you are working with a prolapse too, sometimes it can be really supportive in this position to just stick that block under your bum and then have those supports on either side as well, just to open up and not feel like everything's going to fall out, because that can be a really scary feeling and contribute to that need to cling on. So you keep breathing there. Got one more second there. Take 2 more big breaths. I'm going to come up and chat with you while you finish that. And while you're finishing off there, laying in there, just soaking in these nice big breaths, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me in this workout today. And thank yourself too for really committing to this time for you. It's not always easy as a mom. There's a million other things I know you can be doing and maybe feel like you should be doing, but taking time out for ourselves is so vitally important. And it's something that if there's one thing that you take from today, it's that time to yourself is never wasted. It's so valuable, and you can walk back into your very abundant mom life feeling good, knowing that you've taken that time to do something good for you, so you feel whole and well. And also, I want to encourage you, if you've loved this and you want to continue on with the Postpartum Foundations program, enrollment is open for you now. Our 6 weeks is running starting soon. And if you are wanting to join me, I welcome you into the studio space with me and have full access to this program alongside me and other beautiful moms going through the same thing as you.